Hello, scholars. Welcome back to Mr. Putnam's class. Glad to have you. Today, we will be exploring the why of learning. Why do we learn? Is there a way that humans learn that is different than how other animals learn? How does learning lead to our liberation, our emancipation, our freedom? Those are all questions we will be exploring today. We started today's class, as we always do, on Google Classroom with a do now. Today's image is from Auguste Rodin, a French sculptor from the 1800s. We see a work of art called The Gates of Hell, with a figure named the Thinker at the middle. I asked you to make at least 3 observations about this image. Now, let's take a closer look at the meaning and the historical context between this masterpiece.
1, 2, 3.
Auguste Rodin, The Gates of Hell, 1880. The upper portion of the artwork is where the thinker is found with his back turned to a chaotic scene. Rodin died before he could ever finish the artwork. Here we see him in deep contemplation by his masterpiece. Gates of Hell is historically situated alongside other works of art, such as The Gates of Paradise by Gioberti, done nearly 400 years earlier. When we look at them side by side, we notice the striking similarity. The tympanum is the focal point of the work and also the most chaotic, yet the thinker sits alone in contemplation, thereby escaping anguish, despair, and fear. As we look closer at the work of art, we see various figures in movement, suffering, attempting to physically escape their fate and to save others. But the thinker is the only one who remains calm and contemplative. Now, I would like to introduce to you our digital bookshelf. It looks a little bit different than a traditional bookshelf. There's a real value in seeing the faces of the people we are learning from, the people we are utilizing to formulate the theory that we will use to understand and to derive answers to our questions.
Pa' una ciudad del norte yo me fui a trabajar. Mi vida la dejé entre Ceuta y Gibraltar. Soy una raya en el mar, fantasma en la ciudad. Mi vida va prohibida, dice la autoridad.
Let's begin today's class with a quick overview of the outline that will guide our learning today. Part 1 is the introduction. We will look at the keywords as well as the lesson objective. In Part 2, we will answer what is the purpose of education. We will have a section where you will get into your Google Classroom and follow the Padlet link. We will answer the why, and we will look at the etymology of the word emancipate. In Part 3, we will analyze the human condition versus the turtle experience. We will look at what is learning and what is instinct. Jean-Jacques Rousseau here will help us. And we will finish Part 3 with a short Google Form survey where you will answer how is it that you learn best on a scale of 1 to 5 if you agree or if you disagree with a statement that is made. Lastly, part 4, we will look at aspects of collective as well as individual learning. How do they differ? How do they formulate each other? We will have 2 short answer questions followed by an exit ticket. So let us begin with the keywords. Now, in college, I had a professor. I didn't always get along with him. We didn't always see eye to eye. But he did make a comment that stuck with me to this day. He said, "Now when you go home today and you read this, look up all of the words you don't know and all of the words you think you know." Our keywords for today are learning. 1. Acquiring knowledge or skills. Understanding. 2. The ability to comprehend. 3. Education. The process of receiving or giving systematic instructions. Autonomy. 4. Self-government. 5. Emancipate. To set free from control. 6. Historicity. And this word will come back a lot this semester. In short, historicity means historical authenticity. But in a more complex understanding of the word, we see that it is the quality of being part of history. We, each one of us, have histories. We would not be here if we did not have histories. The actions of our ancestors continue to impact us to this day, and our actions will also impact those of our descendants. Number 7, oppression. Prolonged, cruel, or unjust treatment or control. An exercise of power that is unjust. And number 8, context. The circumstances that form the setting. Now, keep these words handy. Write them down, like I did, so that you can have an easy reference to them, because we will be coming back to them in our formative assessments. You will be asked to utilize them in your responses. So make sure you don't just pass by these, but you really take the time to look them up and to gain that deeper sense of the meaning. Today, by the end of the lesson, students will be able to determine and explain how learning and understanding are essential elements of autonomy and freedom. Personally, I would like, at the end of this class, for you to have a reflection that comes from within, that says, why should I learn? What motivates me to learn? And when I learn something, how does that give me freedom? All right, class, that concludes the first portion of our Why Learn lesson. What I would like for you to do next is go back to Google Classroom and follow the Padlet link and post a comment reflecting on your why. Why do you learn? Why are you motivated to learn? We will come back to those comments in our next section. See you then.